So the plan's working. We got rid of Socko. Sean is now stepping away. I never even saw it. And I know, insidious. You know, and we talked about this for, a good, for the last 3 years. And finally coming to fruition. You know, it's all over, right? It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's kind of eerie. Like a poltergeisty thing.
Seconds against tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette, and I am back for the second hour. I am wondering whether or not, looks like my Facebook feed went down. That's okay. That's why I sounded a little bit crazy for a second there. But I am going to go back on for the second hour real quick. Just give me one moment to get right back on for the second hour, and I can always do that edit thing later. I was like, what just happened? Because technology. What are you going to do? So let me just do that live stream thing real quick. Okay, I'm back up. Anyway, so everybody probably just got kicked out the live stream and was like, what the heck just happened? But that's what just happened. I got kicked out of live stream. Either I got kicked out or I accidentally ended it on my own, which I am prone to doing. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, in a few moments, we're gonna, hey, Chris, you guys are back. Hi. In a few moments, we're going to have, Robert Houston, who's a brand new sponsor to Money Talk with Melanie, he's going to talk to us about taking steps to restore your credit. He's also going to talk to us about some detail stuff about actually he's calling in right this moment. I'm very excited to have him, but it looks like he's calling in on the wrong number. Give me 1 second. Mr. Houston, are you calling in on the call-in number or my cell phone number? It looks like my cell phone number.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I called the wrong number.
That's okay. That's okay.
What? That's me.
Call me for the radio number so that the audience can hear you.
Oh, that's the number on the
yes.
On the marquee. Okay.
Correct.
Sorry.
That's okay. All right. My guest will be back in a minute. This happens in live radio. Yes, glad you. I actually think I actually, to be honest, guys, I think I might have hit in live video. I seriously might have done that. Hi. I've done it before. I meant to hit enter and I hit in live video. At least I did it at a good time. There was a break. But the guest will be calling back in 1 second. Hi, Bob. Hi, Lee. How are you guys doing? Welcome back, those of you who were in the first live feed and you came back for a second. You guys are truly dedicated Money Talk with Melanie fans for sure. I'm glad it was. Well, Katina, if you'd behave yourself, you wouldn't have these problems, but you are not really prone to behaving yourself, just saying, on Facebook. And neither am I, but I'm a little offended that I have not been thrown in Facebook jail yet. I think Mark doesn't like me. I feel like the ugly girl at the prom who doesn't get asked to dance or something. Hey, Chloe. Hey, John. How are you? Doug, you're back. Chris, hello. Yeah, I'm really, I'm feeling some type of way that Mark Z is not giving me any attention. I cannot get thrown out. I can't get thrown into Facebook jail. I'm just way too nice, apparently. Although I did get, I've had a couple of my posts removed. That has happened. Because some pansies apparently just couldn't handle my post. So that's just why would you report somebody? Who does that? What kind of loser reports someone? To me, it feels like an awfully weak move. That's just my opinion. It's a super weak move. it's not something I would like. Really, you didn't like the post, so you report someone? Like, what is that? But somebody did, and I thought it was funny. I mean, it was sexist, but sometimes sexism is funny. That's good. When I run for election for something, that's going to be a clip that they play if I ever run for election, like over and over again. Melanie Collette says, sometimes I'm calling my guest because I'm like, where is he? Melanie Collette says sometimes sexism is funny. That's how it's gonna.
It's a great day at Mr. Credit Repair. This is Robert.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, oh my God. Hey, I apologize. I'm gonna tell you. Can I tell you a funny story real quick? I'll be just a couple seconds.
Sure.
I had to clean out. I had a showing today. So, and I run a mortgage company and a real estate brokerage as well. So I had a showing and had to take some chairs and an old barbecue grill and a bunch of stuff to the dump. So we hightailed it up there to the dump and then made it back, and I made it back on time. And my buddy with his truck, I said, "Hey, dude, I got a 3:05 call time, man. We got to get back." And so, by the grace of God, we did make it back, and then I got started. So I appreciate your patience, and I apologize for being just a little bit tardy.
That's quite all right. That's quite all right. I'm happy to have you on the show. I am so appreciative that you're a brand new Money Talk with Melanie sponsor. I don't know if I sent you the commercials like in a couple of different mediums. I hope hopefully they were okay. And I played. Oh
my God.
Did you like them?
Oh my God, those were so professionally done. They were jamming. They're awesome. And unfortunately, I knew you were on the air because I wanted to ask you how we can modify them for something. Because based on the quality of those, I'm already going to hire you and your team to do some overlays for me, video and a few other things. So I'm really looking forward to spending my money with you.
I love it. I actually have some other things that I can do, and we can definitely talk about that off the air. For sure.
Cool.
There's some ways that we can expand that situation. I apologize to my audience for talking business real quick, but that's kind of what I do. So give the audience a little bit about your background as a credit analyst.
Well, I'll tell you guys, what happened is I started I started about 9 years ago with credit repair. And what happened, I used to outsource it. Different companies offered, different prices basically, but for one of my other businesses, we used to outsource for credit repair. And what kind of led to this was, I think a lot of folks can identify with, credit challenges, especially post 2008. So, unfortunately, the mortgage meltdown caused a lot of problems for people with their credit and other stuff. So, I used to outsource it, and what happened is a lot of these other companies, I was dealing with some guy out of Arizona, another guy in Texas, somebody in Mississippi or Florida, and I tell you, it was the price differential. One person would charge $1,000, and another guy would charge $2,500, and it really pained me to have to refer my clients to to people charging those what I felt was exorbitant prices, and so really, after having thought about it, my partner said, "Why don't we do this ourselves?" And because, see, the only difference between the guy charging $1,000 and the one charging $2,500 was $1,500. Basically, they just threw numbers out there, and if people paid it, then so be it. But there weren't any guarantees, and so that was the difference. So, Mr. Credit Repair Incorporated, MrCreditRepair.biz, was born out of necessity. The goal was to bring a high quality product and service to the masses, at the lowest possible cost. Credit itself is already, it's already exasperating. It's already emotional. And so for me, it was important to be able to deliver something to people that they can say, you know what, man, somebody actually care about us. Somebody care about me. And it's priced in a manner that is totally affordable, so you're not really thinking about it. For $299 one time, a $299 one-time payment, what we do, unlike any other company in the country, we offer same-day credit repair. So, same-day credit repair. A lot of people who actually do credit repair, they kind of hate me. Okay, so how are we able to do that?
That's what I would really like to know, because I have researched this and I've talked about this on my show, and so I am really interested in how your service differs from the rest of the world.
Of course, it's really simple. You go to, and I'm not going to name names, but if people can research and Google it, mostly any other company that does credit repair, they do a credit review, and then they do a credit review, and then they're going to charge you not for the review, and then typically you're going to pay monthly for ongoing engagement.
Right. I want to just interrupt real quick, because Lori Platts said same day, and I said that's what I just heard, Lori. So somebody in the chat just said that.
Understand. Well, and let me explain to them. Same day means basically I created this around your lunch period. So just think about it if you're local. You don't have to be local to me, but just think about it if you've been wanting to get some work done. If you can just stop off somewhere or drop off your documentation on your lunch break, go get your sandwich, eat your lunch, take 45 minutes or so, and pick those documents back up within that hour. I think that's something that adds value. And so that's how we're able to do it. We created a system where we literally perform the service the same day. So I don't want the listeners to misunderstand. Obviously, we're not repairing the credit and having any kind of impact on the same day. But the service itself is being performed the same day, typically within an hour.
Wow. And that is, yeah, because it typically is like this long, drawn-out process.
Exactly. And so with that being said, we pull the credit, we extract all the scores and the negative information, and design a credit repair plan of action specifically for each individual. But with that plan of action, we issue a credit repair blueprint, but the actual outlining, setting up the dispute, documentation, we do that the same day. We priority the campaigns out to each bureau that same day. It takes the bureaus typically 2 or 3 days to actually open it up. You got to remember, these companies probably have millions of people disputing things on their credit. So it's going to take about 2 or 3 days for them to actually open it up, and then typically 10 to 14 days before the individuals begin receiving correspondence, not only from the individual creditors, but also from the credit bureaus. And with my system, that's what we do. Same day process. The results typically are within 21 days, and all for only $299 one time. But that's only the beginning. All our clients get access to our portal, the client portal, which means they can track their progress and their process. They can upload documentation that they receive from the credit bureaus or the creditors directly into the system. That's how we're able to monitor what's happening on their accounts from their perspective. We send out a ton of ongoing engagement to them every week, which just how-to tips and tricks, very useful things. But here's the real kicker. We do a new credit repair campaign every single month for an entire year.
Wow. Wow. So,
Yes.
okay, now explain what that is, just so we're clear. You said you do a new one every month for an entire year. And Shelton wants to know that's for $299.
One time, yes.
Okay, and
Are
what?
we able to do it?
And when you
No,
say
go
a
ahead, I'm sorry.
campaign, what does that entail? When you say we do a campaign every month for a year?
Well, see, here's the thing. There are hundreds of disputes. There are hundreds of reasons why people dispute their credit. So what we do is, in our initial credit review with our client, outline or identify which accounts that they are disputing, and we go after them. So let's use a scenario where you have 10 accounts, 10 credit accounts, and let's say 5 of them are derogatory and 5 are current. Obviously, we'll go after the 5 derogatory accounts. Well, in that initial campaign, maybe only 3 of that 5 will get deleted, and that'll leave us with 2. What happens is, so that very next month, we're going to continue to do a more aggressive campaign against the remaining items. And up until, for a whole year, we will literally go after it. Does it take that long? Well, of course not. But that is our mission. That is in our service agreement. You got me for 12 whole months, as is needed. And even to clarify that, go a little step further, I guess. Some people have we've restored their credit and cleared items. And do you know they've gone out and got new cars or new credit cards and different stuff within the same year and have ruined their credit again and came back?
Oh, good Lord. So I have questions in the Facey chat. Someone wants to know what how long you've been in business, and are you rated with the Better Business Bureau? Which, we can have a whole nother show about the Better Business Bureau, but it is a good question.
Exactly. Well, let's see. I've been in business again since 2009.
Okay.
As far as this company is concerned, Mr. Credit Repair Incorporated, but I don't pay the Better Business Bureau.
Right.
So I'm sure we're rated, but, and I just keep it candid with people. Do I need to pay for a rating? I actually prefer to let our performance speak for itself. Our clients, people reach out. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Mr. Credit. We're on Twitter at Mr. Credit Fix, and I'm around. I'm on Yelp, so you can find me in all those areas where we can't control the data flow. So if people want to put reviews up, you can't delete reviews.
Right.
All you can do is handle it, and I think that's important. We're very transparent but even more so, I'm a small company. We have agents who work for us as far as processing the campaigns, but I'm very, very strict with privacy. So there's only a few people who are going to review your information at all and have access to it. I talk and speak personally with every one of our clients. So it's not, they're not a number. It's a very personalized service that we're able to offer, and that's important to me.
That's a good point. Thank you, Lori, for asking that question. That's a great question. But I will say that, and just to be clear, Lori didn't say specifically the Better Business Bureau. She just asked what the rating was. I threw in the Better Business Bureau, and also partially because I wanted to take the opportunity to throw a little bit of shade their way, because I just thought it was important to bring up that while, listen, I'm not saying that the Better Business Bureau is like a bad place to look at ratings. I'm not saying like it's horrible. But what I am saying that much like everything these days, there is some bias there, because you can pay, like Robert mentioned. He said, I don't pay for my rating. That's because he knew exactly what I was getting at, which is that with the Better Business Bureau, you can pay for a higher rating. So that's the rub with the Better Business Bureau. So like the bigger companies that have those AAA ratings, I take that with a little bit of a grain of salt because they can afford to make sure that it stays that way with the Better Business Bureau. So I've seen reports on it. So I wanted to make sure that I imparted that information to my audience for those who may or may not have been aware of that about the Better Business Bureau. So, I just wanted to put, yeah. So I wanted to put that out there. Thank you, Lori, for asking that question. I appreciate it. So you do a number of things in addition to credit repair. You don't only do credit repair. You do loans and other things, correct?
Absolutely. I have a company, Any Kind Loan Funding. We're a mortgage lender, broker. We can provide any type of loan funding, residential or commercial mortgages. We can fund loans in any city, any state in the country, whether it's a new home purchase, whether it's a refinance, whether it's a fix and flip. A lot of people want to buy something. They want to fix a property up and resell it. We have products for that, up to 100%. Literally, we can do anything. Myself, as a mortgage professional, I've been in the business since 1995. I started in Columbus, Ohio.
Really?
Yes. I'm an Ohio native. Went to high school up in Cleveland area. Went to college at Ohio State. I got into mortgages in 95, and actually, mortgages put me through college. So,
really? You've been doing it that long?
Yes. At my young age, I'm literally a veteran. More than half of my life has been in mortgage lending.
Oh, Chris Levels wants me to put the website up again, which is MrCreditRepair.com. I better know because you're responsive. No, .biz.
.biz.
Yeah, I corrected myself.
Oh, by the way.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interject, but I want all of your listeners to know, as a special for this show, everybody's getting $100 off of our standard service today. So if they were listening in on the Money Talk with Melanie, they get $100 off.
Nice.
So so that's $199 to get their credit repaired and get into our campaign. And I will even throw you in one better. For that same price, I will make that for couples. So if you got a husband and wife want to get it going, basically $200 for both.
Look at you. Well, I appreciate you doing that for my listeners. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. I love it. Thank you. That's awesome. I'm sure my listeners thank you. I have a feeling they'll be reaching out to you. And by the way, haven't had a chance to talk to you today, but I've received a couple of emails that we need to discuss because, of course, I sent your information out in an email yesterday. And I got a couple of emails back from people who are like, can I talk to him?
Absolutely. Give people my number. It's area code 818-579-5215. Once again, that is 818-579-5215. I'm in California, but we work anywhere in the country. You can call me from 8 a.m. Pacific time, which is 11 Eastern, up until 7 o'clock Pacific time. So I keep those hours just in case there's people who get off work, they're a little tired back east, and you want to kind of eat and do your thing and then call. I'm available for you all the time.
Now, good. Excellent. Thank you. Now, let me ask you something. Do you, as a credit repair person, and this may seem like a counterintuitive question, but do you, like most places, offer, like most of the credit repair-y places, offer any type of credit counseling, so that this doesn't happen again, that kind of thing, or is that like counterintuitive to your business?
Well, no, it's not counterintuitive at all. Actually, I think that is exactly what we're in it for. The goal, restoring your credit is one thing, but the maintenance and, tips and tricks that's the other side. So it's kind of how to maintain. A lot of people know stuff, whether they do or don't is another story. But do we provide a lot of insight Absolutely, and I keep them in the loop. We continue to send out information through the Mr. Credit Repair site on what we're doing and some things that they can consider, like how to add more trade lines to your credit, or the things they consider, like how to keep your balances at a certain number, what the creditors are looking for, things that will impact your scores. So I send out a lot of that information because it's insightful, it's helpful, and it's for free. You don't have to subscribe to it to get the info. It's kind of like, we all know how to make a hamburger.
Right.
We still occasionally go to McDonald's or Burger King.
That's true.
People want to know how stuff works. And me, I'm of the ilk where you give the information away. It's important. Give it away. And if they come back, you great. But in the end, what are we in it for? We're in it to help people. We're in it to educate. So that's what I'm here for.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But people, unfortunately, a lot of times just don't follow directions. That's the thing. Like we know what we need to do to lose weight, right? Most of us, right? But do we do it? Do we do it to keep our weight off? Do we? You know what I mean?
I'm guilty too.
Right. It's like we never, some of us we just don't do what needs to be done. And I say that about financial health all the time. Because it's the exact same principle. You're fighting the ugly things, the distasteful things that you have to do for your financial health are very similar to the things that you have to do for your physical health. Same stuff. That you just don't want to do. So that's good to know that you do that. What other services are there that you provide that we need to know about?
Well, the relevant stuff. This has kind of been my thing: business credit building, helping people to start new corporations and build them. I build businesses with them, help them with their Dun & Bradstreet, setting up accounts, merchant accounts, setting up vendor accounts for new businesses or existing ones. Mostly it's, credit repair is a great lead generator. And then, like other things, most of our clients are probably like just regular. They're going somewhere. They want something. So people either want to buy something or they want to refinance something, or they want to start something. And so we're able to deliver solutions. We are in no way a one-dimensional company. I'm a full-service real estate and mortgage brokerage with credit, prop management, and business credit, business funding. So that's it. When I do speaking engagements, I recently spoke at a real estate investors group at one of their gold meetings, and it's interestingly enough, you got about 300 people there, and there's a mortgage guy. An A-paper mortgage guy up there. There was some hard money lender up there. There was an appraiser, and then there was me. And it's kind of like in those environments, I'm not there to compete. I'm just there to add value. And I think when people go to enough of those meetings and they're just going, you got a ton of folks who just kind of show up just to tell their friends and family that they're in real estate, even though they never buy it.
Well, that's true.
They just showing up. I'm here. They say, what you do for a living? Oh, man, I'm in real estate. So they just it feels good to be a part of something. Well, there's something that keeps them going, but and I think it's because they're not finding what they're looking for. And that's a problem universally across the country. You run into these groups, some of these platforms, and everybody doing the same thing. And so for Mr. Credit Repair, Inc. and our family of companies, the Robert Houston family of companies, we offer solutions that have practical use right now, things that can impact your life or your business right now. And if you happen to, some of those things are going to overlap, but even better, why? Well, because the goal is you got to start somewhere and then end up where you're trying to go. You can't get the 10 if you miss 1 through 9.
That's very true. And what I like about the way your business is structured is that it's very interactive with it, because generating leads is probably one of the hardest things, at least I find, about being in business, is lead generation and finding the niche where you can have multiple streams of income that work together. Like, for example, with the real estate and credit repair, those are streams of business that feed each other.
Absolutely.
So, because if you find somebody who can't get their house because their credit's not good enough, bam, you got an instant, client for that. And then once you do that, then you have an instant client for real estate. So it works both ways. My feed went down and I had to jump back on Facebook, and Lori missed a couple of minutes about the small business lending. So if you would not mind repeating, that was my fault, not hers. Well, actually Facebook's fault because they kicked me off. But if you wouldn't mind repeating what you said about what you guys do with small business lending, I'd appreciate it.
Well, small business lending, let's elaborate. Basically, let's assume you start up a new business, Acme Corp, investments, whatever. Well, what we do with that, we're going to help you build and develop that company. If you want to set up the corp yourself, that's great, but we have several levels from which you can choose from. But the overall gist is setting up your new company, tax ID, building out your Dun & Bradstreet profile and the credit builder. So if you are, you can go to Dun & Bradstreet yourself, and I think it's like $1,200 for their credit builder program. Through my company, we're able to build out your D&B profile and help you build your business credit to get your Paydex score to the highest levels through that system. Additionally, we set up your nationwide 411 listing. We kind of prep them with the goal of getting loans, unsecured loans for their business, through their business. And it's not always, everybody's not the same, but in terms of their capacity. Some people have a business, they're making a little money, or they may have a job and they're making some money, but they have other goals. So they don't know that you can utilize a business checking account to get money. You see, some people, and those are tips and tricks or useful things that you can do with having a business checking versus just putting money in your personal checking. We set up 20 vendor accounts outside of Home Depot and Best Buy. There are a ton of corporations that people used to think you needed to have 2 years in business in order to be able to establish credit. Well, we've already defied those norms. Those with the ever-changing climate for businesses, they have to make it more accessible. So we're able to set up accounts for our clients as well with that process, and again, with the ultimate goal of what to get money. A lot of people they want to set up a business, they want to have the business, but they want it to look good online. And a lot of times, see, creditors they'll issue you credit just based on your presence, on your profile. So we help and counsel our clients. We're going to do the work for them, but we counsel them on how the importance of having your Facebook page, your Twitter page, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, and all your stuff kind of synced in. So if you're going to do this right, then you kind of want that. You want your look to be the same, and all your numbers are the same in every place,
Right.
And that stuff's important. I mean, see, for most people, it's very nuanced work. I mean, literally, it's just tedious stuff. There's nothing exciting about it. But me, I learned how to do this. I was setting up businesses back in 2004, helping people. And I'll tell you the story, how that happened. I used to sell single-family residences around LA County, zoned for 2, 3, 4, or 5 units. So basically, you take a single-family residence that you can maybe build up to 4 more units to it. So you got yourself a 5-unit apartment. I used to sell those properties to investors, and then what happened is that they would need help with the construction loans. So I'd set up the business and help them access capital through a business loan so they can qualify for the construction of that property. Well, what happened is a lot of those people back then, I was going to those groups. I mean, I know, Montalongos and the Nouveau Riches and a bunch of these different groups from back in the day.
Right.
Well, I used to go to their meetings. I would never join. I'm going in there just to meet people. And the folks knew it. They knew I wasn't going to join, so they just made me a part of the process because I was adding value. Well, all those investors, those people weren't full-time. They had jobs. So oftentimes they come to me and say, hey, Robert, I need help. You sold me this property, man, but I can't take it to the next level. So please help me. So all of a sudden I'm doing construction and other stuff too. Just kind of being able to, it's all just management. I was able to management and direct traffic, build good teams, build a good system. And that's where I learned how to, through literally getting my hands dirty, both feet, working on my own stuff and other people, building businesses and learn how to build business credit. And ironically, my post-2008 business full-time was business credit building for a couple years.
Really? You're giving people in the chat like big ideas. You're giving me big ideas. Like I'm sitting here like, and the thing is, none of this information is new to me. It's like, and I said in the chat, like, because Celeste in the chat said, this is giving me some, I had no idea. And I said, I had an idea. It's the stuff that he's talking about has been on my list. But what you said about it being tedious, setting up your business, it's tedious. And I've been trying to do it myself. But it's very right. I mean, I have my own tax ID number. I have a lot of it done. All of my social media and my website and all that stuff is pretty consistent. All that stuff is good. But that next level stuff that you were talking about isn't done yet. Is it on my list? And I'm not going to mention some of it because I need to protect my business. But because people would be like, "Oh, really? Let me steal that." But yeah, it's very tedious to do all that needs to be done to have your business set up properly.
Yes.
It's very true, and that's why I was saying, none of this is new. And there's a whole like project task list called Money Talk with Melanie that has more stuff on it. But yeah. So but it can be tedious. I had no idea, but what I didn't know was that there was a company that provides a service like that. And Lori said, I bet because construction went to hell in 2008. But Lori also said me too, and Celeste agrees as well. Doug in the chat asked about Acorn, but I asked him if he was talking about the union or the investment company. So I'm waiting for Doug to get back to me.
That's right. Everybody knows somebody, some group or something somewhere, and that's all fine and dandy. It's kind of like real estate mortgages. People, I had a guy recently attempt to sell some packages of properties to me. And what happened is I got a slew of emails. Like, I'm looking at them like, what are all these emails? The same guy, about 10 of them, right? He just sends me a bunch of emails, but he didn't take the time to clean them up. He just forwarded them to me. But no email signature.
Right.
And so, so I'm thinking, what the heck is this? And so I'm looking through them, and I found a number. I called the number, and I said, hey, is this such and such? And he says, yeah. I said, hey, man, well, you're just forwarding me a bunch of stuff. What do you want me to do with this? And he says, well, I want you to buy something. If you like something, put in an offer. I said, okay, just like that, huh? And then I asked him, I said, let me ask you, brother, just because, you got my experience, my spidey sense was going off. I said, you got a regular job or are you doing this full time? He said, I work at Sarah Lee. I said, okay. So he's working at Sara Lee, and then he's trying to be a real estate agent / wholesaler on the side. And I asked him, how did you get into this? He said he was watching the infomercials at about 2 or 3 in the morning.
Oh dear.
And I can sell real estate too. I can make a lot of money. I can be a fix and flipper. I can do all this and that. And unfortunately, them shows, and I believe we all know that those shows have been debunked. People know that that's entertainment, but they sell in a dream. And there are many people making money in selling real estate or flipping properties and doing it, but it's not that simple. And I'm only going in that to say that everybody knows somebody with a real estate license or doing mortgage loans and credit repair or even business credit building. There's a lot of people out there. With this, all of those industry businesses or affiliations at some point in time had a negative stigma associated to it, kind of like used cars. But in the end, what happens is it's the longevity. And after a while, you talk to some people, and since there's so many people who are out there perpetrating, then a lot of times that's where the stories come from, right?
Right.
The stories are going to be generated from people. You go to ABC company and they don't know what they're doing, you're going to have a bad experience. And so then from that bad experience, depending on the type of personality you are, you may or may not proceed forward. So let's assume that you do. Well, then you're like, okay, I had a bad experience with this company, so let me go to the next one. But if you don't change your approach, well, then you're probably going to keep running into some of those same types. And that's how people start building profiles, and ultimately that individual they'll have a negative view of people in a particular industry because their experience has been bad. And so by the time they meet someone like myself, not only do I have to overcome just the business itself or whatever their goals are and their apprehension, I got to overcome that experience they've had or the multiples. And I've heard so many stories of people saying, I just paid out 1,000 to this company or 35 to this company and this and that. And I'm thinking, wow. So you have to know how to handle it. Sometimes we can overcome those challenges. Other times we can't. I mean, that's life. But all in all, I think for me, it's just listening and understanding. I listen to comprehend.
Lots of people don't do that on lots of levels. That's why, everybody's always fighting on my social media page. If people read for comprehension, that wouldn't happen.
Exactly. And I know because I've been seeing some of your posts, and I'll be on there too. Kind of pushing people. And I think what people like yourself and myself, where we've come to, is what keeps us going. I think they've coined the phrase "keeping it real," but it's even deeper than that. You have to live that life. You have to be that person innately. It's in your heart. It's in your soul. It's in everything that you do. Being committed to excellence, wanting to help people, genuinely help folks, but you can't take no mess because we're kind of in the public eye in a sense.
Right.
So people gonna come at you with a lot of stuff, and ultimately it's all how we respond. And so sitting back, letting somebody just yell at you and go at it and spew, doesn't mean you're weak. That just means actually it makes you strong because you're not reacting. You're just letting them get it out. A lot of times people just need to get their frustration out. They just want somebody to understand.
True. I've learned that. You'll notice that now, and you may or may not notice, now when I start getting notifications and I see two people are fighting, I just let it go. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. Doug was talking about Acorn, the investment company, which is what I thought he was talking about. I just wanted to make sure. Are you familiar with them?
I've heard of Acorn.
I like them. I use them. I like them. I don't know. Have you ever used them at all?
No.
Okay, I like them. I've had an account with them for maybe 2 years, and it really is, in my opinion, Doug, like one of the most painless ways to put money away without noticing. Seriously. Yeah.
Well, I learned some tips and tricks about that. I started in this business way back when I was like 21. And, when you're 21 years old and you start, I used to actually, I was collecting student loans for a company. And what happened is one day I got a call in, and I'm not going to bore you guys with the story, but I got a call in, and I happened to answer the phone that day, and it was a guy said, his name was Mike Smith, and he worked for, at the time, Long Beach Mortgage Company. And he told me he could help me close more sales. And I was a young guy, I could only make maximum at the time $3,200 a month. I had a $1,600 a month base salary, and my commission was maxed out at $1,600. So no matter how much volume over and above that I did, I can only make $1,600. And I did okay. When you're 20 years old, it's not too bad. $3 grand a month, $3,200 a month. So what happened is this guy called in. I answered the phone. I said, boom. I sent him some deals. One day he called back, and I said, Mike, tell me more about what you do. And he did. And in doing so, I found there was an office not far from where the office was that I was working. And I called up, talked to the manager. He hired me right away because I knew how to read a credit report. And I knew trade. That had some usefulness, And so anyway, I'm at that job, and it's basically it's $2 grand a month. It's a grind, but I'm working for a bank, and it's all good. Our best rate, hell, back then was 8.99 at 80%. So.
That's nothing now.
Yeah. So what happened is the office next door was also Long Beach Mortgage, but it turns out that was their wholesale department.
Okay.
What did I notice about them over there? That they dressed better, and they were never around.
I was going to get to that. I was hoping you were going to get to that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I said that's where I need to be.
Exactly, because... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, so I went in the next day and quit. And I put in a month at that grind. I saw that the guys were next door making money, and I said, that's it. And so I quit that job, and I was living with a girlfriend at the time. And we had our little apartment, and I went back and I said, hey, I quit that job. I said, but I found a company that is willing to pay me $1,000 a month, whether I close anything or not. And then, but here's the upside. She said, do what you got to do. You're 21, man. Ain't nobody tripping. You just do it. Just go, because we can do anything.
Right, of course.
And a month and a half, the guy brought me in named Dan Magoo at U.S. Family Mortgage, and was at the time in Columbus. He took me and he said, Houston, this is all you do, man. He said, here's a lead. He said, this is what the people call in. Our telemarketers talk to folks. Here's what this is what the rate is. This is where they live. This is all significant data, blah, blah, blah. He said, this is all you need to do, man, is call these people up and you talk to them. He said, call them up and talk to them, man. Answer their questions if you can. And he said, but if you got to call them and get some questions. He said, if you get stuck, don't act like you didn't know anything. He said, just put them on hold or tell them you get back to them. And so that's just what I did. And after a month and a half, I closed my first deal, and I never looked back. And so that's my story of mortgage lending. I've been in this business so long. It's trial and error in my life. And I was going back to the point we were making about what the money aspect is. Nobody ever told me about money. I don't come from any money. I just come from my stepdad had his own business. My mom eventually, she was a executive chef, and then that was really it. But nobody ever told me about money. But my stepdad taught me about money. Was he showed me 20 grand one day and said, "Here, see this?" I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." I thought we was rich, and that's it. And I got everything I ever wanted all the time as a kid growing up because I was an only child. So that's what I learned about money. Now then, fast forward, being a young dude, you're making 10 grand a month, when you're 22, 23. You think you can do anything.
Yeah,
and
you balling.
No, I'm balling.
Right.
And you can make all the mistakes in the world, but you really don't. When I look back on that, I didn't make all those mistakes. The only thing I didn't do was save any money. Because I'm living, right? You're traveling, you got nice stuff, you got your clothes, you're going out of the country, you're doing things, mom and dad getting some dollars, and you're feeling good. You eating $100, $200 dinners, and it's no big deal. That's normal life, right? I didn't experience a lot of the drawback stuff until my 30s. I bought my first house when I was 30 years old out here in California in 2004. A little 2-bedroom, 1-bath over on Normandy and Florence. If any of your listeners know South LA, I bought my first house on 68th and Normandy in South LA. And, I bought that house for $250. I got 35 grand back, and that was a comeback for me. And I never looked back and started running again. But what had happened is a couple years later, I made a couple bad decisions, and I lost everything.
Dave Ramsey did that too. Same thing.
Yeah.
I want to say twice. Yeah.
I have been homeless twice in my life. I know what it's like to be out there, just not knowing where your next meal is coming from. Anything. I remember going into a grocery store, man, and going to steal the little 8-piece fried chicken because I was broke. But I had a job. I was just broke. I had no money, but I was working. And so I know what it's like to go through it, being in the homeless shelter and doing that. So my thing about money and saving is simply this: you got to go through it to get through it. Some people have it handed to them, and it's forced on them in a sense for their benefit. Others of us have to go through it. We learn, we live our best life that we can, and through trial and error, you figure it out. And so at 44, I don't know if I got it figured out. I mean, I ain't broke.
Well, I will tell you, as a financial, as an independent financial professional, the hardest part of my job, the hardest group to convince that they need to protect their money are people like you described. The middle income people that are like out there killing it, making money because they don't think it can ever end. So it can be very difficult to convince them that life insurance is important, that disability insurance outside of your job is important, that having a portable version of that is important, because bad things do happen in an instant, and you want to have your income protected. Those people that make money like that make 6 figures, are the hardest people to convince to protect their money. It's really kind of weird because they feel like they're always going to have money, but it's not true.
Well, and I agree with you. I totally agree. We've seen it. I've seen so much just like you. And for those of your listeners listening in, hey guys, call Melanie right now and have her with an orange account, an IRA, a mutual something. Just put something away.
Exactly.
Because they say most people can't afford $1,000 emergency, financial emergency.
Yep, it's true.
And so that's kind of the thing. Is if you sit back, if you don't have $10,000 in the bank, then you're doing something wrong. And when I say wrong, not as an admonishment, I'm just saying that something needs to change. Maybe feel like you're not earning enough income. Well, then how do we offset that? By increasing your employability, your marketability. We have to see where we can cut costs, see where we can cut down on a lifestyle. There's a lot of things we have to do that we are responsible for the change that we seek.
Exactly. And something really crazy can happen. Like I know a story of a friend who was jumping on a trampoline with their kid, make 6 figures, and fell and ended up paralyzed. Could no longer make that 6 figures for his family. Fortunately, a friend had convinced him to get disability insurance that he originally fought. And he called him and was like, thank God you made me do that, because I would be in major bigger trouble than I am now. Like, at least my family now is not, you know, in trouble.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it is something to really, and people always think like it's not going to happen to me. It's just, but listen, I want you to, in the last couple minutes to close of the show, if you want to repeat that offer that you made in the middle of the show to my listeners, now would probably be a good time to do that, and let people know how they can get in contact with you if they'd like to avail themselves of your services.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Again, this is Robert Houston, CEO, Senior Credit Analyst of Mr. Credit Repair Incorporated. That's Mr. MR Credit Repair.biz. My direct line is 818-579-5215. Again, 818-579-5215. Give me a call. You're going to talk directly to me. You're not a number. Our standard credit repair service for 1 year, no monthly payment, same-day process. Results are in 21 days. New campaign every month. You get access to the credit portal to track your progress. Is only $2.99. But today only, for every listener in on the Money Talk with Melanie show, $100 off our standard $2.99 service. But in addition to that, if you're a couple, if you're a husband and wife, what I'm really trying to tell y'all is if you and your boyfriend or your mom and dad, your baby mama, baby daddy, whatever, $199 for two people. $199 for two people. You got to be who are together coming on the Money Talk with Melanie show.
Excellent. I love it. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. This has been informative and useful and fantastic, and I'm looking forward. Thank you for being a brand new sponsor for Money Talk with Melanie. I appreciate it so much. I'm looking forward to doing business with you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless. You all have been listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. Thank you all so very much for listening to the show today. It's really been a good time for me. I hope it's been a good time for you guys. If you have not heard the entire show, it's been 2 hours. I will post the podcast on my page. I might break it up into 2 separate ones so that you can listen to them separately if you want to. I can do that as well. I haven't decided on how I'm going to do that with the 2 hours, but I may do that as well. So if you want to listen to just Robert Houston, or you want to just listen to the Burgess Owens portion, you can do that. But I have had a great time, and you guys totally rock. If you're listening to this via SHR Media, thank you. If you're listening to this via any of the podcast vehicles, I appreciate you as well. And all of you who have been interacting in the Facey chat, you know I love you, and I will talk to you next week. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Remember, all of this is important because after all, it's your money. Have a great weekend.